I can think of one I bought last year for $60, played for 2 months, and then wanted to throw up on it and set it on fire in my backyard. So there's been some talk about video games going up to $80. I think maybe some already have. I could be wrong on that. But it doesn't really matter if they have or have not. If the conversation's there, then it's going to probably come about. And we've already seen an increase in games. And all these arguments about them costing more or the same in the 90s. It's a silly comparison because this is not the 90s, number one. And you're looking at just pointing that out as like, first of all, things were easier to afford in the 90s, especially if you had a household where two people were working. I remember even way back then, this is when I started gaming, was in the 90s as a child. And I had a single mother she still struggled to afford probably video games for me at times, but she was able to pay bills and afford to buy me games at Christmas or whatever. But now, like now, she had one kid, and I also have one now. And if I was the only one working in my household and my daughter was gaming, I could not afford to pay all my bills, buy food, and buy her $80 video games. It just would not be possible. So I'm lucky that I'm not in that position because if she ends up liking video games, I can have help affording that for her. And that's not even to mention that I'm still a gamer myself. And there is no way, at least right now, or even in the past 10 years, that I could have reasonably said that I was going to buy an $80 video game and feel like that's okay. I'm going to take that back. Maybe back in 2015, I might could have reasonably said back then, I may have been in a position to reasonably say that I could buy a $80 video game. Now, that's not to say if all of them went up that I could have afforded several of those. Like maybe I could have made it work financially, but should I have? And would I felt okay about that? No, there's no way. So now in 2025, a significant number of adults are buying and playing video games. About 64% of people play video games on a regular basis. That's a lot. I'm sorry, 64% of adults play video games on a regular basis. And that's quite a bit. And it's about 70%, I think, for kids. But in the 90s, the gaming demographic was much younger. Like there was an incredible difference between now or then and now as far as like adults playing. In 2022, the average age of a video gamer was between 35 and 44. When, like, in the 90s, it was like there were adults who played, but it was almost only children or almost always children that were playing video. Now, I do want to point out here that at that time, and even now, my mother's obsessed with Mario. But at that time, she was the only adult I knew personally that played video games, and she would like knock you out of the way. It's my turn to Mario. She didn't play. She did play. She was actually pretty good. But anywho, my whole point to this is that, like, first of all, in the 90s, it was a lot easier for someone to afford a video game, even if it was $80. And that is because everything else was so much cheaper compared to what people were getting paid. My point is that in the 90s, it was so much easier to afford to buy a video game, even if it was $80, because everything else was so much cheaper in comparison to what we were getting paid. It just meshed so much better. But now here in 2025, like to afford rent, food, gas, your other bills, electricity, insurance. The amount of money I have put into car insurance and never used it, never. I've never used my car insurance. But hey, go ahead and take 50 grand. I don't know how much I've paid, but it's been a lot. And what's funny about it is like it never gets cheaper and it doesn't matter if my car is 25 years old. My car is 25 years old. Tell me why I'm paying $100 a month for that. It's not worth that. Like literally, if I got it into an accident, it would not be worth paying for. They'd be like, "Here's $10 for your car." But no, I had to pay a shitload of money in insurance, didn't I? Anyways, don't get me started on that. Because on top of that, I've had one thing on my record all these years, and I do mean all these years because, honey, I'm not young. And that has been off for over a decade now. So tell me why, please. Anyway, it is just $80 is a lot to ask people to afford right now, especially considering all the absolute fantastic indie games there are to play are so much cheaper. Like, why would someone not buy 6 indie games to your one brain dead AAA game at this point? And I hate to say that. Like, there have been plenty of AAA games that I've liked in the past, and there are some of them that are knocking it out of the park. It's very few, but there are some. Um, but honestly, any of the AAA games I've played in the past few years have went straight to my uninstall button. Not straight. I mean, I might have gave them a bit of a chance, but to be honest with you, I haven't bought that many because I have so many fun with games that aren't AAA games. I have so many fun and so many fun. I have so much fun with games that are like $15 or free. So it's like, why would I? And why would you not want to maximize the amount of people buying your games? Like, I think it was, Borderlands. They're thinking about taking the game up to $80, and someone was like, "Well, if you're a real big fan, then you will find a way to pay the $80." It's like, "Yeah, sure, but there are billions of people." Like, 64% of adults and 70% of kids are playing video games in 2025, and you want, like, 5% of each of those maybe? 10%? I don't know, but you should want a larger percentage, and you're gonna get a larger percentage if you make your game affordable enough. Why look, okay, so here's me. I'm not a okay, so you know how like the game Destiny, you are kinda shoot grinding, I don't know what you call that. Is it a looter shooter? Is that what you call that? I get absolutely bored with games like that. That is not to say they're bad games. I know and love plenty of people who know and love those type of games. It doesn't mean it's bad. But if people I know and love buy a game like that, typically I will buy and try it too because, a lot of people like to play in a group. I'm one of those people. Um, if they bought one of those that was $80, I cannot convince myself to do that. How am I going to convince myself to spend $80 on a video game I might play for a week and then be like, guys, I'm not really feeling this, it's just not going to happen. Now, if it was $15 to $20, sure, there is a really good chance I would buy that, play it for a week, and then put it down. But guess what? Then I can't return it because I played it for a week. So you just got some of my money. And I feel like I can't be alone. I can't be alone in that I have tried many games like that and then turned out to not be a big fan, but then I've already paid for it. But it was reasonably priced. That's why I did. If it's a reasonably priced game, there are a lot of people who will pay for it and try it knowing they may not like it. If it is $80, there are even more people who will never put that money into that game because they're not going to know if, like, why would you spend $80 on a game that you don't know for sure you like? Maybe people do that all the time. There are people who can afford to do that, but there are much more of us who cannot, or at least not reasonably. Um, so I guess I don't understand why so many companies seem to not want to maximize sales. I mean, unless your game is just really good, like we're talking Baldur's Gate 3, Elden Ring. Like if your game is not to that quality, don't be stupid. I hate to use the word stupid, but what else is it? Because like wishful thinking. I think it's wishful thinking. They have to be thinking with wishes because it's not that good. Be honest, it's not that amazing. There is no way it is $80 good. Now, did you put uh so much money into it that you need to charge that? Maybe, but like maybe that's a you problem. That is a you problem. Um and it's going to be a you problem if you also charge $80 for a game that's not mind-blowingly good. We get mind-blowingly good games now for less than $10 with a lot less money put in them. Like I don't think that your financial, these plans aren't working anymore. It's not working anymore. I don't know what is gonna happen ugh. I don't know what is gonna happen with the AAA gaming industry. I don't know what's gonna happen with the gaming industry. But what I do know is putting a ridiculous amount of money in a not ridiculously good game and then charging ridiculous prices for it is not going to work anymore. You are going to fail. You better figure it out because we already have. And gaming is one of those industries where people are 110% voting with their wallets. And this, people spending $80 on these games that aren't great or $60 even. I can think of one I bought last year for $60, played for 2 months, and then wanted to throw up on it and set it on fire in my backyard. It's only going to float you for so long. You're only gonna be floated this way for so long before you're gonna drown. There are so many of these companies that we grew up with, and I'm not even sure at this point that we want to see these game companies succeed anymore because I think we've realized that they're giving minimal effort and wanting us to give a lot of dollars, and it's not fair. And I don't think it's been good for a while now, and I think it's only getting worse. I highly doubt anyone's going to really disagree with most of what I said, but if you do, that's fine. I just wanted to talk about it. I think about it a lot. The topic comes up a lot, and in the last 5 years, I've maybe spent $60 on one game. So this change has already happened in my life. Um, I've already stopped buying the more expensive video games because I just realized I don't have as much fun with them. And if I was going to spend that amount of money on a video game nowadays, it would be Baldur's Gate 3 or Elden Ring because I know for sure that I would not be wasting my money. Um, and as far as buying one at release, if the company or the developers, if they had a really good track record, I might buy one of the more expensive games at release. Editing crawling here. The one exception of a game I might buy at release, even if it was $60 to $80, would be a new Fable. That would literally be it for me. All right, guys, I'm done. Have a good day. Bye.